But
I'm going to go on record because I was very arrogant about professional bodybuilding open. Dude, the way this happens, Classic will overtake professional men's open.
You know.
All right, so we're back. Cutler Cast. How many podcasts is it this week, Milos?
For me, this is third. I told you, but it's your number 80, right? I think so.
No, we're not.
Yours is number 80.
We're not even at 60.
We're not even
Like
60
58,
yet.
59.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah,
So
this is a Mickey Mouse operation.
So I saw you
60.
I saw you in the gym last night. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to do this because I'm heading out of town. The list is out for the Arnold. How did I look last night, by the way?
So let me tell you guys. Okay, where is the camera?
Don't fucking gas.
No,
it.
he is.
Don't stop it.
Listen, number one. First of all, I've stopped training with who's who over here.
Yeah, you stopped training.
He was fucking swole when he trained with me. Now he trains by himself.
I was saying this to camera. Jay is so jacked that I was like, oh my God, he's going back because I've heard you that for $1 million you would come back. And $1 million sounds like a great deal because 400,000 is unthinkable, first place for many bodybuilders. Now this is Olympia offer. You would want $1 million, and
but dude, we already had someone step up and say they'd pay the $1 million. So
and you say,
I think you told me you priced. We hung up from that. We stopped the podcast.
See, we said it as a joke.
What,
yeah, we said it as a
what
joke.
would it really take for you to come back?
$10 million. $1 million to some people it's a lot, but it's
No, not for him.
not a lot for Jay.
Let me put it this way. Jay can actually do it. I'm serious. No injuries.
Yeah, I know, but
Structure.
He'll get smoked.
You overwhelm people. I mean, this is how it is. You just overwhelm. Some of the videos, and I've seen recently again, when you walk, like your shoulders will be this wide.
Yeah, I just got my shoulders aren't so full right now, But what I told you, I'm only eating. The protocol has not changed.
TRT.
No, you
Listen. All he needs is some Essaclean. He'll fucking fill them shits back up.
So
he's got it. He's got
the old bottles.
So TRT, $250 a week.
He's on. Whoa, hold on. He's on today's TRT, which is like fucking 2 grams.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I'm on 200.
200 milligrams.
200 what?
200 Cypionate.
How often?
Once a week.
You notice how he said that with a smile on his face?
Once a week.
So I said 250.
I have no reason to,
goes down
I have
to
no
200.
reason to lie. I have no reason.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So yesterday, Hunter told me, like, "Oh, what do you think?" I said, "This is enhanced TRT. Don't take this
dude.
TRT."
I'm surprised that you would second guess me.
You look. No, I trust you.
I started put meals in. That's the big difference, and because you ship the meals to me.
You look like you're jacked up the
I don't think.
honestly,
I felt.
If he just eats consistently, you know this, the weight comes. I remember years ago, and I remember you telling me, like, man, for the last 6 weeks, I ate X amount of times a day, and he was right back up to 260.
But you know what? I'll tell you, I stopped doing, and people will love this because they listen to me. I quit fasted cardio.
I'm sure that helps.
It's making my body look different because think about this. I'm a depleted, I'm depleted every day, and I still got up out of routine and did fasted cardio. If you don't have enough to the muscle, what's the point of doing fasted cardio?
How much do you weigh now?
Hold on a second.
I don't know. I haven't weighed myself.
Besides health purposes, what's the point of doing cardio if you have no fat?
My mind.
For your mind.
I would kind of get my day set. I always talk about my fasted cardio as like my meditation.
Okay.
And
you can meditate sitting in front of
I understand, but I get on there and
you can meditate on the toilet.
Why do you do fasted cardio? Tell me.
I don't.
No, you were.
Honestly, though, when I do, it does help me get my metabolism going for the day.
Okay, but your
because
mind
I don't
too,
eat,
right?
Yeah. I'm a stressed person.
You're just not. You're a type of trainer which I respect a lot. You never believed in a lot of cardio, right?
No.
Why?
Because I had no fat.
Why the
hell would I do the cardio if I had no fat?
But would you put your athletes
if they need to?
But if they don't need to, ideally weight training is ideal, right? So if I trained with weights twice a day and did no cardio, like I did in 01.
Did you look crazy?
So I did no cardio at all. And
why you didn't do it then? Okay, explain.
Because he was doing 100 units of Serostim.
No.
I'm just kidding. I made that up.
No, but you didn't have fat. You had no reason to do the cardio. I give cardio to the people that need to drop body
How
fat.
much cardio do I need to do?
You should start
Slim.
now and stop in June.
Stop in June.
Yeah, but the other thing is so
Metabolism,
so
though, if you can
let's-
eat more, you can. What does it do for you realistically in your mind?
when I do the cardio, if you do that 60% of the maximum heart rate, is not going to really elevate your metabolism like he's saying he's going to do his, because what's that going to do? It's you walk and you can talk, and this is not like high intensity cardio, the intervals that can bump up your metabolism. That jaywalking, I didn't even know what jaywalking means. My wife just explained to me.
Yes.
Jaywalker.
You cross when you're not supposed to.
Yeah, but in the other world, jaywalker is.
We need to.
You know that?
We need a change of.
Jaywalkers.
Gay.
Oh no, I didn't know
people.
that.
No, not that. We need to. I just realized something. We need to have a logo for jaywalks. It needs to be like a sign where you can't cross the street.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a
Jaywalk.
funny thing because jaywalking, you get a ticket for in
That's
LA,
what I
right?
thought.
It's illegal.
Okay.
That's what I thought, but there is a term, I guess, for gay people, the jaywalkers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why he
in
calls
what language?
it in English. Okay, I'll get you back
Now
to
we're gonna
explain
get
to
fucking
you.
hate messages of you.
I guess so.
Back
but,
to this fucking slob.
So
So cardio.
cardio.
To do it, not to do it. For health purposes, to meditate, to feel good, that's a different thing. In bodybuilding terms, you do cardio if you need to lose body fat. If you don't need to lose body fat, why on earth would you do it? It's on fasted state, like you say, you're depleted. You're so already caloric deficient. And now you're going to catabolize. What are you going to catabolize if you have no fat to lose?
I think everyone has a little fat.
I was going to say, how
Milos,
often did you have no fat?
When you got closer to a show,
I was, on that note, we're going to talk about a few things, and I'm going to mention that later. 98, 99, when I competed in Night of Champions, because that's one of the topics. I'm going to refresh. There. I did it on a 3-day notice, because this is how I was. I didn't need to do the cardio. I was in shape.
Did you do shows right before then or no?
No. I'll touch that subject when we get to it. But cardio, I appreciate it. You were sometimes doing 2-3 hours, you told me. Okay, 2-3 hours of cardio. Many times when I talk to the guys, I point the finger, Jay used to do 3 hours because he needed to do, okay? Ronnie Coleman did 2 hours, right?
Chris Aceto hated it.
Cardio, yeah?
He hated that I was doing it. So he would try to offset it by giving me more calories.
Yeah.
Because he's like, okay, I don't agree, but you're going to do what you do. That's what made him a great coach, to be honest.
But this is great. This is perfect conversation. So now here, Jay Cutler, 3 times Arnold Classic winner, 4 times Mr. Olympia winner, is doing something that his coach is not telling him and doesn't like him to do.
It was prior to me winning any of those titles.
Okay.
I was learning,
But why did you feel...
I'll tell you, you want to know why?
Yeah.
I did this. I talked about 50 grams of carbs and doing 2, because you beat me.
But that was expectable, So how can you beat this guy?
I went 98. In 98, I got 11th at the Night of Champions. We were tied, right?
He always says that you were tied. I was 11th, you were 12th.
No, I was 11th. I was tied.
Listen, loser.
Well, look this up. Look up 90. What was it? 90.
Hey, I'll accidentally find this so
98
quickly.
Night
You
of
know,
Champions.
he's probably got it fucking saved.
Hold
on
a
his phone.
second.
So I'm going to talk while you're doing this.
I'm just going to get...
He's got it saved, doesn't he? All right, who's on here?
Put this on the
I know, but he probably made that.
This just went away.
Oh, hell.
Wait, but that's not. That's
You're
I think you
sabotaging
just
me.
wrote that in
Can
there.
I ask him? Can I ask a question? How the fuck did he pull that up so fast?
I think he has it saved.
Yeah, no,
It was in your notes.
It's a muscle memory, okay? So you put athlete name.
Wait, hold on.
Jay Cutler.
Are you getting paid
Muscle
for this?
memory.
Why are you
No,
paying
no,
this
but-
shit? Why aren't they paying you?
Yeah, they should. Because I love this one. You can find everything. So here's
I'm gonna
Jay
blurb out what
Cutler,
this is
right?
until they
the
cut us a
whole
check.
history. And then you go to
What's it say?
98. It says that you're 5'3".
5'3".
5'3".
What's it say? 98.
98
Night of Champions.
Please read. So I'm not biased.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, it kicked me down to 12.
Listen, hold on.
I think we were tied though, right?
You were tied in points.
Okay.
Tied in points, but I placed ahead of you by.
I want to know why you haven't put on your Instagram yet
What?
that you have beat multiple Mr. Olympias in your career.
Who says I didn't?
No,
I do every time. Yesterday I was with Jay Cutler signing the wall on in the
No,
club.
Regan Grimes.
Regan. And what did I say?
You said
Cutler.
Jay. You're getting fucking old.
I did. Oh shit. Okay, with the Regan. With the Regan, yeah. And I was signing, and I had to sign above Jay's and Ronnie's signature.
Yeah,
you know,
mine was at the bottom.
So I put it on top because I said I beat these guys, so I should be on top.
I've told you this before. I want to see on your Instagram.
where were
I
we?
have beat your favorite Mr. Olympia winner.
Okay, but hold on. Because he was making a point, and this is interesting for me.
The cardio.
Yeah,
The cardio. So why did you do so cardio?
Because
so much?
I had a trial and error, and I think every athlete should go through this, where just because you or like someone, it's all trial and error, right? When you start working with someone, you work with Samson now, Regan, all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the guys from Iran, Petros, what's his name?
Behruz.
Yeah. Like you have to learn their bodies, right? So you try these different things, and for me, I just thought, hey, you know what? Oh, everyone else is doing it. Why don't I try it? It burned me down to nothing.
So you want to do even more because
and then
you
in
want
'99, I went to the Ironman, and I was shredded, dude.
You
but
were.
I just wasn't. I didn't have the muscle popping, right?
I mean, you were so
What if
good.
what if I would have been
Fuller on that
fuller and not as
Ironman lights? You should have. You remember? Ironman lights. You can get away with conditioning.
I
a little
probably
bit.
would have done better, right?
Yeah, you could possibly beat me. Good luck with that. No, I'm serious. On a
I need to
serious
put a
note,
post on here.
you know, because I'm gonna say this. I also beat you.
Most people need cardio, though. Am I right or wrong? When they're
Most
trying
people
to lose body fat.
Most people do.
We're not talking about enhanced bodybuilders now. We're talking about the
Yes.
normal person.
Yes, but you were doing it too much and for no reason.
I was.
Because just you're gonna say nobody's gonna outwork me and nobody's gonna out diet me. So you did only 50 grams of. I mean, it's respectful.
Fish. I had a
Fish.
low fat diet. I had no fat.
Suffer. So a lot of people believe that you should be just suffering. Okay, why would you suffer if you don't need to?
My total cholesterol was 106.
Not bad. And HDL.
Was super low because they said it cannot be accurate. The doctor told me at the time, you can't when your total is that low, you can't have a positive HDL. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it could be, but you see, the ratio is between LDL and HDL. So HDL should be 40 or up. So if you are down to below 100,
it was in the teens.
it's more than likely non-measurable. Yeah.
It was like 15 or something.
Yeah. Plus everything else you were doing.
I remember watching this podcast with this guy that was an epidemiologist, and he talked about how the HDL and LDL, the difference between the two only matters if your cholesterol hardens. And it doesn't matter. Like he was in his 70s and he said, my cholesterol's over 400 and my HDL's in the 40s. But because I take this vitamin, this, the cholesterol does not harden in my body. It flushes it out. But
that's the first time I hear that theory, but
no, I mean, I'll send you the link and have you listen to it.
Do you believe in niacin as a
I
way to
use
increase your
I use it
HDL?
regularly.
But you have to
regularly.
use the
non-flash niacin because I did it first. Flash niacin.
The first time I did, I thought I was going to die.
geez. I was gonna die too.
I was told that you have to use the flush niacin in order for it to work. Is that true? I took a half the other day, bro. Oh my god, I was like, my eyes were swollen. I was nervous because I had to leave to go somewhere.
That video I watched, he said the vitamin E, vitamin C high levels of certain ones will help make sure that the.
I'll tell you this one. I went to Hawaii. No, did you say I have to say the story? Of course. I was going on the beach and I was going to take some diuretics to look better.
Did you take any today?
Not today. I didn't have it.
Why not? Because your face is pretty fat today.
Yeah, I know. It's a basketball head. It's my normal look. But
He's
that
training,
time.
though. He was training hard yesterday. First time I seen him.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't seen him train hard in forever.
No, he actually trained, though, yesterday.
I trained, but I was far away from hard. But listen to this. I had my vitamin box always, right? So I would put the vitamin C, B complex, the potassium, all this shit. So as I was taking Bumix at the time, and Bumix depletes everything, right? Oh, I need to take some potassium. But I messed up and put the niacin into potassium box. So I took 5 tablets of 500 milligram each, 2,500 milligrams of niacin. And, you know, this is right before the beach because I was going to go to the beach.
No.
Right?
You look like a lobster.
No, but that hit me. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was a niacin.
I'd be afraid it would, like, dude, it doesn't, like, I literally could, it was heavy. It made my eyes and, like, my skin was coming out.
It was coming out. It's like you burning from
How
inside.
long did that last for?
Oh, it lasted for a couple of hours, man. It was a nightmare. And then, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That sounds like we should do that to somebody. Play a prank.
Hey, you can
Hey, take
play
this
pranks.
vitamin C.
We needed to make that video, like the shit video that I have
Of Milos?
taking it at the beach and
Taking
turning
it at the
bright
beach
red.
and turning red in the face. I was there to show off to the bitches on the beach.
But I was dry. Let me tell you, I was bone dry. But where were
Bone
we?
dry and red.
So
You should take
niacin-
some attention deficit tablets because we're going all over the place.
Okay, so the cardio.
Cardio.
I just listen. It was just something trial and error. I never went back to doing that, and I never went back to really 50 grams of carbs. I guess I did for the Night of Champions that I won in 2000.
Yeah.
But my off days would be the 50 grams, and then I would take a medium day, which was like 250, 300 grams of carbs, and then my high day would be like 800 or 1,000.
But how many low, medium, high do you have?
I only had 2 low days a week because I trained 5 total days, and then I only did medium days like 1 or 2 times, and the rest were high days.
Well, you
Every
understand?
4th day would be a high day for sure.
So your low and medium would be undercaloric. I mean, it would be, caloric deficient, carb deficient.
I was 260. I
Yeah.
competed at 260.
And
that
you
year.
train like twice a day?
Yes.
So this was nothing. That's
And I
a
did
spit
2
in
hours
the
of
ocean.
cardio a day.
Yeah. So your caloric intake and carb intake on low and medium days were spit in the ocean kind of thing? Or when you're medium, you're twice?
Tons of protein, though, bro.
So 600?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's what I keep preaching.
And
so the worst thing
that
that
converted, right?
Yeah, that's the worst thing that happened. You don't have enough glucose. Glucose is needed. Glycogenic amino is going to convert it. Yeah. So worst case scenario, you're getting some glucose from protein. Have more protein. But you were undercaloric, undercarbed.
Yes, I was. Well, let me ask you a question though. If I at 49 wanted to get ready for a bodybuilding show right now, and I wanted to do a lower carb diet and a high protein, is that safe for me to do at my age on the
Of course it's
kidneys?
safe. Okay, yeah. So here, you are afraid that high amount of protein would be deleterious to your renal system and kidneys. Did that ever happen up until now when you were younger and you were taking 600 grams? It never happened.
I know, but I only did that for a
And
short
why would it
time.
happen now?
I transitioned to more of a moderate carb, moderate
Okay.
protein,
But
low fat.
just to focus on that, there's too much protein
What's
affect
too
your
much
kidneys.
protein, bro?
Any amount of protein.
How much do you think that if you were to go right now at 60, which you're doing your transformation, right?
I will, after my birthday, after 59
He's not
birthday.
60 yet.
I'm not 59 yet.
He's
so
not
I'm
fit
gonna,
for 60.
I'm going to get jacked for 60.
So, how much protein would you think you'd take in at your
now
weight?
I'm not good, but I would go 2 grams per pound and possibly more.
That's a lot, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
you don't have
relatively
kidney
speaking.
if you don't have kidney problems, would it
If you
affect
don't have
Yeah.
kidney issues, it's super safe.
don't
And you
they
have many
say, though,
videos on that.
every year you get older, your kidneys are getting closer to failing? Is that true, or?
I don't know.
Why?
I mean,
it's like,
I'm just saying what I hear.
so it's like slowly aging and
some
losing the
people,
effectiveness. Yeah. I mean, I always went high protein. I never believe in toxicity, and I never will. You get your amino acids from whatever protein source you're taking, and they're going to be processed and utilized and used and stored or burnt as energy. How is it going to affect it? I don't believe in any danger of high protein.
Let me ask you, what do you feel is the best source of protein for someone to use? Your opinion?
Eggs.
Yeah, eggs, they say, are the best.
Yeah,
best
eggs.
for-
See,
I would-
I thought bison was.
I mean,
No.
any wild game, but here, I want to touch
Well,
the subject.
egg whites have the best profile of amino acids. or
Amino
something,
acids,
right?
but the complete protein has a higher protein efficiency ratio. I did 4 times 15 egg whites a day, so 60 egg whites a day, and I heard you did something similar.
140.
What, 140 a day?
Yeah.
How can you do 140 for the love of God? Okay.
30 at a time. I did 30 egg whites a sitting. My plate, bro, was this big. This is when I did the 50 grams of carbs. I'm not kidding.
30
egg whites in a sitting.
In a sitting, 4 times.
That's only
120. Jesus Christ.
30, that's only 90 grams of protein.
Yeah, 4 grams per.
3. There's 3 grams of.
Okay, then you have the medium. It's I take an
Depends
egg
on the
as
size
a
egg. What size? These are large eggs.
large. Okay,
What do you think? 3
4,
grams
but
per.
between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Between 3 and 4. But I was like you.
But now you can just grab a fucking container and dump
I
it.
would
is crazy.
underestimate my protein always.
Egg Whites International will give you guys a plug for that.
Yeah. I would always underestimate the protein. So if I think it's 4, but maybe it's 3, I would count as a 3. Just so I make sure that
Did
I
you
take
count
4.
your protein pre-cooked or after? I always measured my food pre-cooked.
Pre-cooked? Yeah, pre-cooked.
Everyone does it cooked now.
Listen, you have a nutritional breakdown of a pre-cooked raw, and that's how much protein you're going to have. Now, how you cook it, it's your thing, doesn't matter. It's still going to, is this 40 grams of protein that is pre-cooked is now going to disappear in the cooking?
Can you burn protein out of a steak or chicken breast?
Tell me how. I like
If
to
you
know.
overcook it.
What if it's a burnt crisp? Then
No.
I never did it anyway. I don't know. That's honestly, I don't know. I don't believe it.
Maybe one of our
Google it.
expert viewers
Yes.
might do that. Okay, so let's talk about the Arnold Classic because we'll talk forever here. So
Yeah.
we have the list that came out.
Mhm.
Very disappointing.
Super disappointing. Almost unthinkable for me. And
I thought about jumping in, by the way.
yeah,
so.
and you could.
Fuck.
What's 6 play?
Yeah,
There's
you would
6.
You would
what's
play
Like
7.
$5,000, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would play.
Milos, why don't you just go do it? Just go step on stage. You get paid.
No, okay, so we have 6 people registered right now.
Okay, so you tell me, the question is, how is this even possible that only 6 people are interested in entering second biggest contest in the world? Contest at
$488,000.
488, 200,000 first place, something that you won 3 times. That's at the time, of course, you should be shooting for the Olympia, but you did 3 years in a row, Arnold, and you jump on Olympia later on because it's the most prestigious contest. You have Dexter Jackson, Ronnie Coleman winning, Ken Wheeler, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Lebroni, Kai Green. I mean, it's the most prestigious contest. Brandon Curry, Nick
William
Walker,
Bonner.
right? Yeah, the other time. So how can you miss that contest? I'm puzzled. Last time, actually, the only time you beat me was at Arnold Classic. So that's why it's your favorite.
So you know
why I
what?
keep going.
Before we talk about this, talk about what you winning 3 Arnolds did for your life.
I think we did this. I think we talked about this because, this was $100,000. And remember, I competed in an era where the Mr. Olympia was paying, 100, 110. And then it went up to 200. I won 200 at my peak. I won 155 my first year at the Olympia. But the Arnold was, it wasn't even in my mindset to compete in that after getting second at the Olympia until Jim Lorimer called me. And I remember exactly where I was. I was at a gas station coming back from the San Diego Zoo with my mom. She came out to visit me after the show was done. I got second at the Olympia. And he called me and said, we really like you in the Arnold Classic. And I called Chris Aceto immediately. I'm like, Jim Lorimer just called me. And what do you think? Can I do it? And he's like, hell yeah. Like, shit, do it. And, I had the mindset like, hey, I'm second best in the world. It's almost like
Guaranteed.
That's going to solidify me, right? And I did it, won 100, won the first H2 Hummer on the West Coast at the time. So, I did turn around and sell that for $65,000. Mark Nally actually bought it from me from Flex. And, I was moving to Vegas and, we talk about all the investments I did and people forget about like where it all started. And, I was able to buy more property with that money. And that continued because I competed, in 03 and 04 also.
But 2002, you decided to pass Olympia.
Yeah, because I was building the house. I moved to Vegas. I mean, I still had, honestly, a little chip on my shoulder against Wayne. Because, remember, they failed me on the diuretic test. I had a fight.
They tried to fail you.
Yeah. And, they tried to take $60,000 from me. And I was guest posing all year. And to be honest, man, like, I won that Arnold. And I was pretty satisfied. Like I was like solid second best in the world. And I thought I'll get Ronnie. Like I'm like, I have all the time in the world now. He's on the ropes. And going into 02, like I looked at that contest. I actually didn't even attend the show. I watched it from my house on pay-per-view. And I saw he looked a lot smaller. And I mean, Kevin, I thought could have actually won that contest.
Possible,
he was second. And I thought for sure, like, okay, he's lost trying to figure this out, and I'll come back in 03 or whatever. So I never regretted it because I made so much money guest appearing. Like I got second at the Olympia, and then a few months later went to the Arnold, and I was like the biggest thing in the books at the time. I had all the endorsement deals at the time, and it was just a huge opportunity for me. So it really opened up a ton of doors. Like the respect factor went through the roof, and like I was known as the best guy besides Ronnie Coleman.
Yes, that's how it was. But then 2003, you missed 2002 Olympia. You came to Ironman looking like absolute freak.
Yes.
Okay. So 2003, you set up the whole year as oh Jesus Christ, he's going to dethrone Ronnie because the way he looked in 2002, he lost GNC to Gunter. We talk about that one photo shoot before the Olympia when it really Ronnie came and shocked all of us. You know, then you could see that he still got it. But the point was you were choosing Arnold Classic 3 years in a row, right? Because it's prestigious contest. Kevin won how many times? Flex won how many times? Dexter won how many times? This is most prestigious contest, so much money, and they treat you. I mean, I was always amazingly. I mean, for people that don't know, athletes are being picked up from the airport, you know, taken to the very nice hotel.
You're all flown in.
Everything. You have access to the gym. Volunteers are going to take you. There was always bag full of goodies.
The baskets when you get to the room. Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful. I have nothing but the praises to say. So how can somebody not want to do that Arnold Classic? Last year, okay, and this is what happened exactly when we get the list of 8 people. I said, how many people of this 8 is going to cancel? Because last year there was like 3 guys that canceled, right?
They had like 12 and then 3 guys canceled. So
3 guys canceled, yeah. So now with the same thing, but I didn't expect to be this quick and didn't know how they made this list. We have guys on the list from a Classic and from Man's Physique. They're not doing it, but they're not doing it. They just sign up, like Blessing was saying. He signed up thinking he's going to do it back in the day, and now when they were choosing, they pick him, but he doesn't want to do it. But the idea is, you mentioned Night of the Champions, okay? And I talked to Matt the other day about this subject, and I was just asking, yesterday I asked you, how many professional bodybuilders in open division are registered in the IBB? And I assumed, I told you yesterday, I assume it's 400.
Thousands. Has to be thousands.
Open.
Well, open men, yeah.
Open.
Hundreds.
400, I would say. Yep. Because back in the day, in the 90s, when we were competing, right, you have like 40-something guys at Night of the Champions. The Night of the Champions that you won was 45 guys. Okay, that's just one contest. So, Matt, you can say it yourself instead of me saying it. Reasons why people don't compete. You explain.
Well, so how many shows were there? Let's just go back then. How many shows were there per year?
There was Ironman Arnold Classic. There was Niagara Falls, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Night of the Champions.
But were those
US.
Chicago and Niagara every year? Or
No,
was
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The Chicago
every year. How many?
Every year there was always Niagara Falls and the Night of the Champions and Canada.
Ironman, Canada.
Ironman and Arnold Classic.
Olympia.
That's how you start the season.
Yep.
And then there was May shows when you have
Say 2.
2 or 3. Usually 3.
Okay, that's 5.
3 for sure. Sometimes 4. Okay, and then you go to European Grand Prix Tour, which is usually.
But that was after the Olympia.
After the Olympia.
So the Olympia would be show 6.
Yeah.
And then afterwards.
Okay, so your point that you were trying to make is that
there's 30 shows now, but there's a whole nother aspect to it. Mm-hmm. When you used to compete, there's only 7 to 10 shows, and it didn't cost that much to do a show. It didn't from the supplement side of things. Guys used to turn pro, and they would take little to nothing, or they turn pro naturally. Now you go to a local show, there's guys taking more shit at a local show than an open guy does, and the expenses now are so much. They're dramatically higher than they were when even you competed.
So what you're saying is that can't afford it.
A lot of guys can't. So imagine this. Not only that, how much was the prize money in the first show you did?
Same as now. I won $3,000 for third place. So it was 10, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And you know
1991.
How much, outside of the big shows, how much is prize
Exactly
money?
the same.
10. So 30 years later, the prize money is the same.
Yeah, but listen, none of us, me first, didn't go to the show for the prize money. That was the last thing on my mind.
But also, if you did a show back then, it might have cost you $500 to $1,000 to do it. Now it can cost you over 10 grand to do a show.
We were going into the shows. Yeah. Prize money was bonus plan. I mean, not like Jay Cutler, because Jay, you won all these shows. But I remember talking just to Dennis the other day, and when he placed third at Arnold Classic and he got actually $25,000, he didn't even think of a prize money. Oh, I got $25,000. That was like a shocker. He didn't. Most of us in the 90s and I'm sure 70s, 80s when they started, we didn't. We didn't go into the sport to make money.
Let me ask you this though: when you did a show, did your sponsor cover all your expenses?
No, initially it didn't.
Let's say a couple years into it.
Okay, so here it is, Night of the Champions story. 97, I won Canada and I was second at Night of the Champions, close to Chris Cormier. That was that was great showing. So 98. I didn't, you're supposed to sign up for the shows, but because my wife was pregnant and Alexander's due date was exactly Night of the Champions weekend, so I didn't sign. And of course, I was not going to sign for San Francisco in Canada 2 weeks before, right? Because you're waiting,
And back then, you couldn't back out of a show. You
fined. You couldn't. Yeah, if you sign up, 5,000 penalty. You can. Even though if I consulted Jay, he would probably tell me how to get out because in that
you tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, because that sad story that you say diuretic test, you failed for four different diuretics. So it's a different story. But here. I didn't sign for the shows because my daughter was going to be born. So she was born on Wednesday, okay, and Saturday was San Francisco, and I live in Temecula, and it's like...
It's a short flight.
It's like, oh, why don't I? On a 2-day notice, right? And I was top 5, at that show. And that's when... that's the last time Kevin beat Ronnie on that show. That was the last time.
Now let me ask you this, though.
Okay, so I didn't get... covered for that. And then I'm going to Canada that I won 97 and promoter says, I didn't have a time to use your name and likeness. You're going to have to pay for everything. So I had to pay hotel, flight and everything. I'm going to Night of the Champions. When the minute I said exactly the same thing again. No, I didn't use you for advertisement. And by the way, I don't know if you know, I was always a poster boy for an underground gay community in New York. He would put me on the poster. I didn't even know. Later on, he told me. I said, what do you mean? I said, Milos, you're a gay magnet. We have to do this. So, this is the thing, how it was. But I didn't get the expenses covered. Same thing, 99 now. 99, I did my Ironman and Arnold Classic, and I was not going to do anything. But then,
Arnold was paid, though.
Yeah, Arnold was always paid.
Let me ask you this, though. But if it would have cost you $10,000 to get ready for a show, would you have done it? Could you have done it?
It always cost me that. I mean, there was not that much difference.
No, let me ask you a question, though, because I agree and disagree a little bit. I think...
and I also agree and disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but I agree that it cost, okay? But if I would put everything into this one preparation... There's usually 3 shows in a row.
You want to get them back to back, so
you get your money's worth.
I get it.
And you are pro bodybuilder. That's your job. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So there's no way, because Night of the Champions, there were so many Europeans coming in, and from different countries, they can't afford it. When the Mina didn't pay them, right? So how do they?
And they the ones he advertised, I think.
Who them?
Wayne, I think he brought in the Europeans. I might be wrong. I don't know.
I know, but 45 guys in your show?
No,
right?
I know, but there was they always had like 1 or 2 headliner guys like this guy's coming.
Yeah.
Like
Ernie Taylor 1 year.
Marcus Rule,
yes.
Yeah.
Night of the Champions was night that the champions are made. So that's how it was. That's how you also really arrived. After Night of the Champions, your doors were open.
So what part do you agree and disagree with?
Okay.
I think a lot of the problem, and Milos brought it up a little bit. So when you say, like, I 100% agree with you. I'm going to say that when I won the Olympia, I remember someone in my camp being like, dude, you just won 155 grand. And it was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I did. Because it was the title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we talk about, to recoup the money, like you say, it pays 10,000 and it costs you 10, because let's be real, the food is the most expensive part, right? I know people like want to talk about the drugs and when you start getting into exotic things like a GH or something like that. That was probably the most expensive protocol if you did that. Listen, a lot of pros don't spend a lot on drugs. That's where I think you're a little wrong, because
not everybody.
Some guy looks at it and they might spend $1,000 on drugs, but the food is very expensive, like the proteins and everything else. And if they have a coach now, like now people are coached. Back then, a lot of guys did it on their own. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Like you didn't have a coach, right?
Never. Yeah.
Okay. But it wasn't the I'm going to recoup my money by doing 2 or 3 shows because that makes it worth it. Dude, it built your name on a level. Like you still have visibility in the magazine. So Joe would be like, hey, you're going to compete in that show? Okay, I'm going to shoot you for Muscle and Fitness. You were a crossover guy. So you were like flex and Muscle and Fitness. Not every guy was like that.
That was before Joe, signed me and made me exclusive. Yeah, but the idea is, and this is what I want to ask: when you were starting, Jay, okay, did you pick a bodybuilding because you thought I'm going to make all this money?
No. But I'll tell you, my perception was seeing Sean Ray in front of Ferraris.
Should you say that was not his Ferrari?
It was. I saw the
You told me that.
Okay. I thought, okay, these guys are rich, because I thought everyone in California was rich. So this is just this is my just being naive, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't think I'm doing this because I want to be. I'm like, I want to be able to afford my chicken and pay my $500 rent and drive a vehicle to the gym that's not going to break down. I thought, okay, I possibly could do this, right? Because remember, I met Chris Aceto right away, and I saw what Chris Aceto was doing with a wife that was a top female bodybuilder at the time. And they were doing their camps, and they had their mail order, they had books and everything else, eventually, which I did and, started making a living doing. But you're right. I didn't give a shit about the money. And truthfully, I made most of my money on outside investments. So I was able to prize money. And I stress this to this day. If someone paid me $100,000, like, I'm some of my, like, say the supplements or the clothes or whatever else, or we go on some of these appearances and we can make that kind of money
quick.
That goes a huge long way. If I paid you right now to come on my podcast this month, $100,000, okay, to come here 4 times, that would alleviate a lot of your stress, correct?
What did I say?
Yeah. So when you get, a paycheck every week or every month, we were paid monthly, right, on endorsement deals and whatever, we got $5,000 or $10,000, whatever. That paid our bills. But when you get those checks and they compile on top, like even $10,000 was good money back then.
Yeah. But to answer that, because he's saying that now there is not so many contracts, you said the same thing. Guys,
social media's killed
the
perception of why I should compete. Because now people are in this for the money.
Yes.
Because they see that, okay, I can get on a platform and I can use the IFBB or NPC platform. Mm-hmm. Now I have that. How many times you hear people, I just want to get my pro card, it will help my business, right?
Yeah.
But now they use that platform so they're visible and they can branch off and they can either do branding deals or create their own, or they can get on, how many diet coaches are there now?
Yeah, God knows.
Okay. That's what they see. Okay, that being a pro or whatever else. And they think, okay, well, I don't need to necessarily compete because what is it really going to do for me when they can build a social media platform? Now their platform was the shows. Now their platform is Instagram or TikTok or whatever else, right?
Of course. I mean, you can look at, I'm going to use Regan as an example. If he would have done the Olympia this year, he wouldn't have been in the top 10. But his earning potential is more than everybody in the top 10. If he would have this year without putting the size on, his earning potential is greater than anyone on that stage.
He could have squeaked into the top 10.
Possible.
Yeah.
But his earning potential is greater than everyone there because of his look and his social media.
Yeah.
If he quit competing tomorrow, he would still make millions of dollars.
Yes.
To where if other guys quit,
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah, but the point is, this whole thing, we have a Arnold Classic, second most prestigious contest,
Yes.
and only 6 entrants. Out of the 6, 2 are 212 actually.
Okay, why do you think, and I've heard coaches say this, why do you think guys are not doing it this year?
That's positive.
I just want to say it's fucking crazy that Nick Walker, Brandon, Derek Lunsford, I understand Hottie, like I said. Who else? Who else am I leaving out?
Rami?
Yeah,
Rami.
Hunter.
Rami, he's gone back to Egypt, but at the same time,
He can still get back.
I mean, dude, it's 7 weeks. Is it 7 now or?
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
probably not
7,
even.
7.5.
7, 6,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, 7.5.
I mean, dude, it's a couple
Hey,
$100,000.
you know what? I look at it a different way too, and not many people are going to say this, and I know I'm going to get fucking flamed for this. I think it's disrespectful because the last 2 years Arnold put on a show. When the pandemic shut everyone down, he put the money up, and guys got to make money when he could have easily said, "Go home."
Yeah.
And he even posted on my social media, those guys needed the money more than I did.
Yeah.
The next year, he did it again. And he put the money up knowing he was going to lose.
Yeah.
And now guys are healthy and guys are not doing this show because they're saying, I'm not healthy. My coach won't let me. There's all these bullshit excuses. And the reality is, if you're that unhealthy from doing one show, then you shouldn't be a pro bodybuilder. Or your coach is pushing you so far beyond the limits that your coach is jeopardizing your health. And I think it's fucking disrespectful to the whole industry. And people can flame me all they want, but that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I did 110 shows. I did 72 pro shows. I competed in every organized show throughout the years. I always claim, and I'm going to claim again, I'm super healthy. Okay, if I didn't have this COVID and all that stuff, I had no side effects from abuse. None of them should abuse. And therefore, I mean, look, example of my athlete, Samson, is doing the Arnold Classic.
Is Samson unhealthy? Is he okay?
Very healthy.
Okay.
We had a couple of weeks break of something. Like you were saying last time, everything that he had before the Olympia was still working. It's in the system. It's not like, everything pays dividends. Everything that he worked for, trained, dieted, all this. He was at Olympia now, a couple of weeks of just resting the body, not letting body fat accumulate, and then you continue. It should be for everybody else. The thing is, you have to explain to the people, how did Arnold Classic became what it is, second biggest show, and then how do you get invited? So for us to be invited, we have to send a contract that we are interested in, attending all the shows.
Yep.
And then if they see that Jay Cutler is interested and I'm interested, maybe they're going to say, Jay, we want you in the show. Milos, you're not invited this year. Okay. But what was the list they have to choose from if they came up with only 8 names?
And 2 backed out.
And 2 backed out already, right? Yeah. So I just assumed that the list was not deep.
So let me ask you this: you did the show 3 times.
Were
you unhealthy?
No, but I'm gonna tell you something that, and this is in defense of like a Walker or Derek. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting names, but so I did the show in 2002. I did the show in 2003, and do you remember in 2004?
Yeah, you did all 3.
Well, no, 2004. I almost lost to Chris, right? I came in, I started to expose myself a little bit. So I was making myself present, continually at that contest. I tried to come in super lean, almost lost to Chris. But I realized I skipped 2005, if you remember, and then I won the Olympia in 2006. Why did I skip 2005?
I know why. Because you almost lost in 2004. I
said, you know what? I've ran every year. I won consecutively 3 years in a row. And back then, I honestly, guys, I was scared if someone came ahead and beat me, you lose that position. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
It's kind of a shitty thing, though. I want to kind of talk about this a little bit because in sports, like in boxing or football or whatever else, right? You win on a point scale or whatever, and you have to perform. For bodybuilding, it kind of like I felt back then, like if someone leapfrogged you, it was really hard for you to gain that position back. So I said, if I go to the Arnold and Chris beats me in 05 or Dexter beats me, where does that set me up for the Olympia? Yeah. So I didn't want to expose myself, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? I really want to focus on being better to win this Olympia. I knocked at the door now. Now listen, 01, skipped 02, 03, 04. Like, granted, it was only 03 because 04 I hadn't competed at it yet, right?
And I would say this in defense of the difference between now and then, you had Ronnie Coleman you were beating. These guys might think that they could beat
And
Hottie.
let's back it up too. I was way established. I was the contracts I had.
You were still higher paid than anyone competing.
Yeah, ridiculously paid. Okay,
not close.
I was ridiculously paid.
Yeah.
And I was a big earner. I was guest posing every week. I was merchandising when no one else was. I mean, I was selling shirts and everything else, like DVDs.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy though? When you won and
I was established as
you were established, but if that check that you won, you can make that every month. There's guys now that check is more money than they're going to make the whole year.
Let's put it this way. You and I discussed this. Like,
yes.
Okay, so if I won, say I won $600,000 off the Arnold competition years, okay?
Those 3 years.
Okay, because I won watches and everything else.
Hammers.
That money today from early 2000s is still working
It's
for
still
me.
working, because people don't look at that like, and I'm going to say this, and because he might not, but the investments that you make with that money, he's still earning from it to this day, 20 years later.
But we started this conversation with we don't care about the money. So I understand if a Nick Walker or a Derek Lunsford don't care about the money. They just want to be the best bodybuilder in the world, because indirectly, when you become become the best, it kind of just snowballs into the money. Does that make sense?
And I do, and I always look at something else, and I said this in the last podcast. Bodybuilding is not a career. A career is something you can do till you're 70. It's an opportunity. It's a moment in time, because this. You get in the squat rack, you tear a muscle. Nowadays, it's a wrap. It's over.
It's over.
That money's
you create a career though. He's still making a fortune off bodybuilding.
But
right?
his
fortune.
but there's a difference. But there's a difference.
You make a lot of money. Dude.
No. But there's a difference.
Talk about my business.
But no. The difference is you're not making it bodybuilding, but you are one of the fortunate that found an angle to make it. Because there's a whole lot of guys that probably beat you that aren't making shit right now.
Yeah, but hold on. Because this is news for me now. It's coming from a champion. Derek Lansford plays second. Like Jay Cutler plays second 2001.
Yes.
In 2002, he entered Arnold Classic and dominated. Okay? So it's the same scenario. Okay, 2001, second place finisher. Okay, and he entered. So should Derek do it? I mean, it's already, we already know the answer. Or Nick Walker, should they do it? So you did. And you did 2002, dominated. 2003, you came to Ironman looking crazy. Arnold Classic in 2003. Yeah, so you did all these shows, right? But he says, okay, after 2001, 2002, 2003, he has established himself as the second best bodybuilder. And now 2004, you get a little fear, oh, Chris is coming, if you're not at your best. I understand that. But all these guys, Nick Walker is most confident guy that I know. I praise him for
sure.
it. I mean, it's like amazing. This is mindset.
I told Jay
I love that.
Earlier today, since Jay, he's the most confident bodybuilder ever.
How can you possibly pass on a $200,000 payday 7 weeks after the show that you already fat-free, ready, you just need to maintain it? It's unthinkable for me. I was entering shows on 2-week notice. I was constantly in shape. I thought, I'm a bodybuilder. I should be ready at any point of time. I was doing photo shoots all the time. You have to be representable. So we've seen some videos of Derek looking crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. I don't want him to compete, if you ask me, because
you want Samson.
Yeah, of course. I want an easier job, right?
Yeah.
I don't want Nick Walker to compete, if I'm as a coach. But as a fan, of course, I would encourage him. as an athlete, I mean, I care for all these bodybuilders. I mean, if you have a real talk, you say, how can you possibly not do it? First, it's prestigious contest. You say how much Arnold puts. If there was no Arnold, it would not be bodybuilding, pretty
Exactly.
much. So now Arnold is wasting all this money on a couple of years, losing his ass on a pandemic-caused situation, right? He's still investing in it. So all the best should sign up. All the best. I mean, when you look, the thing that I had on my phone was a list of the winners from the Arnold Classic. That's what I had. I didn't have the other one. And because I just want to refresh my memory from Gaspari winning, and then Mike Ashley, and then Sean Ray, and then Flex and Kevin, and the best of the best. Always, you're going into the Arnold Classic to have a repetition of the top 6 at Olympia.
I was going to wonder how many Arnold Classics has Dexter done? He won 5, but how many has he actually done? Because he got second.
Probably
A lot, but how much did Arnold lose the year?
$4 million.
Okay.
$4 million.
Yeah,
And he, you know what? And he still put the money up and said, do the show.
Yeah.
These guys dieted. They did this. And he said, those guys need the prize money more than I do. So I'll put the money up for them.
respectful. That's beautiful.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm gonna put everyone on the spot.
Yeah.
Is there anyone right now that carried over from this year's Mr. Olympia that is a shoe-in, like if this guy shows up, he wins?
I think Nick Walker.
I mean, look.
I mean, you're coaching one of the top.
I do think that Samson can beat Nick. I thought that he beat him.
No, he could.
I thought he beat him at Olympia, but he lost on the conditioning. So from that aspect, I'm going to accept it. It's not like, but it was, even you said last time that if you were a judge, you saw that possibly
Okay,
happening.
but you're sitting here saying, you're saying Nick, you're saying he's crazy for not doing it because you think he can collect $200K?
For sure, 100%. He has to.
Do you think if Derek Lunsford and Nick Walker show down again, who wins?
I think Nick wins.
And Derek?
I do.
No way.
Listen.
Listen.
I just do.
Okay, so when Derek opens up and then you realize this shape, he's killing him in shape. So it's not even close. That V-taper, X-frame, beauty, aesthetics. How can you? So
I just think
I know, dude, but
that's how Derek gets second.
I know Derek's beautiful, but do you think Hottie's beautiful and he out-muscled a little bit and
I think Derek was more comparable to Hottie, but if Hottie's not there, I think Nick beats him.
I think if Nick and him were the only top, if Derek was out of the mix, who would win?
But hold on, you guys you believed in Derek more than me.
I do.
You saw something that I didn't.
Okay.
So you saw something, right?
Yes.
And you were right. I just didn't know how he's gonna, be there next to those guys. I thought he's gonna be out muscled and then, out.
That's why I think if it was just Nick and Derek, the last two, I think Nick just has so much.
This is why I see that if I was Derek, I would go because I'm like, shit, I just got second in 01.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to solidify myself. I slam dunked
100%.
the Arnold, in my opinion. It was probably my most victorious one. And I just rolled.
And also, you got to think, Derek, too, the last show he did before the Olympia was the Olympia the year before as a 212er, which was 14 months before.
Yeah. But listen, and I just saw yesterday in Fit Club the cover of Muscular Development with Derek from 2021. He looked crazy right there. I mean, Jesus, okay? That beautiful shape, I kind of underestimated because of the softness throughout pec, chest, and arms and abs. Which,
listen, I could still nitpick that. I mean, I wasn't.
This is still there. But judges saw him winning, few judges saw him winning, against Hadi, who is slice and dice, complete. We say, okay, Hadi is not pretty, but Hadi is absolutely complete.
He looked great. I'm not saying he's not. Yeah. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. He's just not. He doesn't have the Derek look. Does that make sense? Or a Samson shape, right?
So Derek has that crazy look, but this is where I want to, and I said it, but you have a bias, don't do it, don't say it. Samson has a beautiful shape and so much muscle, no weaknesses, complete, everything else.
No, I said that to you when you and I were talking. And I don't understand. I'm not a judge, so I'm not going to pretend I know. But when I saw that Derek had first place votes against Hottie, and they said it was because of his shape. Well, if that's the case, why is Samson not moved ahead? Because his
Yes.
shape is better than everyone on stage. And he wasn't that far off in conditioning. He was off a little bit, but that's why I didn't understand. In the first place, first and second shape mattered, but 6th through 3rd.
I don't think any of us really disagree on the judging.
No, I'm not upset at it at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm not upset at it, but I don't understand personally.
It's easy for us to sit back now and kind of pick it apart and be like, oh, this guy, this or that. But, dude, okay, so we have 6 people. Okay, Samson's in it. He's massive.
We got
Massive.
Samson
And we have Clarita and we have Kamal.
and William Bonnick, who's a 2-time winner.
Okay. Williams, listen, he can redeem himself too.
Oh, yeah. Big time. I mean, he won twice. You know, so he would probably be as on
And then I'm going to
favorite.
show the other 2. We got Akeem Williams in there as well,
Akeem,
and Justin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
We're both great.
All of those guys, if they nail it, they're all good.
Justin looked crazy last year. The prejudging.
What do you get? 3rd last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, he looked great leading up to Olympia, didn't he? Or
I
So.
think just some miscalculations.
Yeah, I mean, so I was just super impressed with Justin when he stepped on the stage for prejudging that
Boston
initial.
Pro or
Huh?
Boston or
He looked
No,
good
at
there, too.
Arnold Classic. Arnold Classic, he looked crazy.
Yeah, he looked
initially. Yeah, and then he started fading, and then it was a different story, and then he can lose to anyone. So yeah, well, respect to all the competitors. But now when you're just looking, William Bonnick was twice winner, so he's first favorite. If you ask me, he was runner-up last year, potential winner. They didn't give it to him, right? So if he delivers, he would be there.
If he looks like he looked this last Arnold, he's going to be right in the mix.
But Samson beat him, right? It was not even, close, I think. It was no comparisons there. So Samson, in direct comparison to William, now is coming probably as a slight favorite if he just delivers, Can William be a little leaner, like trademark from before and more conditioned? Yes. Would he be dangerous? Super dangerous, no question. But Samson and William, here it is. Okay, it's competitive. I think it's going towards Samson a little bit. Now, get Clarita. Clarita is pound for pound, inch by inch,
He's a
or
mini
whatever you
Ronnie
want to
Coleman.
say. Yeah, it's like crazy. I mean, when he beat Regan, for me, Regan should still beat him. Because Derek Lansford beat Clarita in 212 months before, right? That show, no, not months, 2 weeks before.
Yep.
And Clarita was way more conditioned than Derek at that Olympia, especially from the front, right? Derek is always super conditioned from the back, but from the front, the front relaxed, the front double biceps, front lat spread, abs and thighs, most muscular. 5 poses out of 8, so, and then side chest, right? He didn't have all these striations, but Derek beat Clarita on shape, on V-taper, on, really width, because Clarita is narrow. So I was thinking going into the show, Reno, that, Regan is just bigger version of Derek, right? So it's going to be sure in, but he wasn't. And how Sergio Oliva was saying, like, there's no way that 80 pounds less guy is going to beat me. And then he did beat everybody. So Clarita is a danger. I mean, capital letters.
What I say to you last night at the gym, I said,
win.
I don't see how Samson
Can
lose to
100-pound less guy, right?
But
Almost.
you just made a great point.
It's not even 100 pounds. It's 120-pound difference.
Clarita looks crazy. So does Kamal.
So now when we do the calculations, if Clarita is 170 and Samson is 290, that's 120 pounds. It's double the Clarita, right? If you just think about it. Okay, but I always want to say I have nothing but respect for Giant Killer. I've seen him day before the contest in Reno. I don't know if you've seen him in that posing room, and that was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. Like, oh my God, that quality,
I wanna
hardness,
retract something.
density.
I want to retract something. When I said Nick was the next closest to you, Sean Clarita's right there too. As dedicated as he is, he's right there. As he wants it is really bad. He's right there with Nick. I just want to give him that respect.
I'm around Nick more, obviously.
Yeah. After Clarita won Reno, I made also in one of the podcasts, that I'm podcast whore, I'm all over the place. So I said that he can beat Big Ramy. On the same merits that he beat Regan, he could have beat Big Ramy. At that time, Ramy was Mr. Olympia. If you're going to go for that.
Yeah.
But that brings that, what you said last night, how can 100 pounds heavier, which is 120 pounds heavier, shapely, complete physique like Samson lose to Clarita?
I think if Samson's like the Olympia, I think it's very hard for him to lose to even a condition Clarita, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of size.
But that's why we sit and we debate these contests. You know, the question is does Big Ramy show up? Like all of a sudden, like what happens? Are we going to have some people sign up? Is Derek going to come? Is Nick Walker going to come? That's my question to guys.
I have a feeling that they should.
I kind of laughed and said when they announced this list, I kind of knew, we kind of knew, like the number. Mm-hmm. I said people are going to come out of the woodwork. I'm shocked that people have not yet.
You know, I want to say this just because, like, I spend a lot of time fighting to get athletes paid more. From contracts to tour to everything. And it's hard for me when I fight so hard to get these guys paid and then this many people don't show up to the second biggest show in the world. It's personally, it's like, guys, like you're gonna if whether you get ready for a show 6 months from now or this show here, it's actually gonna be cheaper for you to do this show because you're already in shape. The amount of money to go do this show when you could win enough money to pay for half of a house that can benefit you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And people are, no, I'm just going to sit it out. And it's like, okay, well then go do another show for.
But that was that debate. Are bodybuilders and pros to make money and living and be better on social media in any which way. Competing at Arnold Classic is so prestigious, and then opportunity to make all this money is like, how can you pass? And nobody sign up? This is mind-boggling to me. I mean, really, I was shocked and puzzled when I saw that.
I honestly thought that this year's Arnold was going to be the most stacked
Crazy.
lineup ever.
Yeah.
I thought everyone's going to go, fuck, let's go do it.
When you text me, like, who do you think? And I say, like, 5 out of top 5.
No. So I saw the list the night before it came out, and I said to Milos, I go, how many people you think did it from the top 10? He's like, 5, 6, 7. I said, how many from the top 15? And he numbered, and I was like, 1.
I said either 5 or only Samson. And then it was only Samson. Yeah.
1.
Yeah. But
I'm going to go on record because I was very arrogant about professional bodybuilding open. Dude, the way this happens, Classic will overtake professional men's open.
You know, we were just talking about this right now.
And at this rate, this will happen.
Let me ask you this. What if Arnold said, I'm going to flip-flop Classic and open prize money because all the top guys except Bumstead is doing it, and I'm just going to flip-flop
$60,000 for first, by the way.
hey,
60.
Arnold said that at the Nick Walker, the Nick...
Chris Bumstead.
No, on the Nick and Strength and Power, whatever, interview, that Classic should be the new Mr. Olympia, not the... He said it. You heard?
Yeah. But you know what? But if actions speak louder than words, and the actions right now are the Classic guys are wanting the top guys are putting it all on the line. Even men's physique. We had Aaron Banks sitting right there last week. He won the Arnold. He won the Olympia, and he said, "Doesn't matter if I won the Olympia. I'm going to go do the Arnold. I'm going to win that one too again." So he's putting it on the line.
Yeah, but it's not for the money, and I don't think any of these other guys.
I don't know how much money.
I don't think Urs or Ramon's thinking about cash.
Yeah, I don't think
these guys are very well off.
They make
right?
they make more than open guys.
Okay,
that's why. I'm not.
Which is beautiful. I love it, but none of us. I mean, that's why I ask you: did you get into bodybuilding because that's like money making opportunity? Any other sport would pay you more?
No, but I was shocked when I started to make that kind of money, and I felt very. I don't want to say lucky, but I was honored to be able to get paid to do what I love. And that's one thing, like, I give credit to Joe, man, because, like, Joe forced us to compete, Milos, in that contract. Like, if you didn't qualify, you were on a year-to-year deal. And that's why, in my mind, I thought, I'm going to compete every year, because, to be honest, I never enjoyed competing. I can tell you, being a Mr. Olympia winner, I didn't enjoy that process of getting, like, I loved when I got to that point, but, getting going and not being able to focus on my business as much and have to basically put everything to the side. It hurt a lot of relationships. I know it has for you also. Yeah. You're raising a family at the same time. just very, very selfish. And for me, like, I just love the business more than I'm doing what I love more now. Let's put it
I'm
that way. But
surprised.
I couldn't have done it without the platform of those competitions.
But I'm
including
surprised because for me, you seem to be so competitive.
I'm competitive in a sense, but Matt will tell you, like, I'm not like an ego guy. Like, if someone says, like, oh, this guy's more, like, I just say, okay, good for him. Like, it's like, I feel like I've done so great with what I've done, but I don't have to be the best at everything. I know people have that opinion, like, oh, Jay has to do things because he's Jay, right? But to be honest, man, like, I can live the exact life I want to live. And, like, we talk about this all the time, like, put a monetary value to me, like, say, what else do you want? Like, I'm like, dude, like, doesn't really affect me much.
You were coming into Ronnie Coleman's era, right?
I beat the best guy in the world.
Yeah. So
that was my only.
How can you not enjoy it?
I know, but no, the only thing, because I was up against it for so long, and then when I beat him, I got there and I said, this is it. Like, I expected so much more, right? But it was such an obstacle, and it's really hard to look at other things in your life and say, okay, this is challenging for me, because nothing else is more challenging than that. Yeah. Like, I don't know. They think about that. If you said, oh, I'm going to be the best bodybuilder in the world, or I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia when you were second, and everyone telling you can't do it. I mean, and then you go do it and you're like, shit, like.
I just would never know what does it mean being the best in the world in anything that you do.
How do you think you would have received it if it was in your cards?
I mean, of course, listen,
you make a couple million a year now.
Recognition of being a best in the world in anything, I think is such a great experience, right? And accomplishment that, and you did it, So, and I watched you do it,
If you guys could see his text, but you'll find out tomorrow.
Just read it.
No, I can't.
No, it's
somebody competing.
Yeah.
Somebody competing.
Something else, but
I'm going to go on the record. These two know more than I do, and they know who's competing, but they don't want to tell me.
No, this what I saw here is not a
I know what it is.
Thing. I know he knows what it is.
Okay. No problem.
So
they're going to find out right when this podcast airs.
So we have 6 guys. Samson, you think, is going to win this thing?
Well,
on paper, he should.
Okay, listen. Can you not count William Bonyak? No way. I was actually saying, you remember when we were going into the show, initially he was my choice for second place. And
I thought he was going to get second.
And then I replaced him with Hadi because I realized best Hadi would always beat the best William, in my opinion. I said this from 2019, so I would stick with that because it's more complete, wider. You say it's not maybe pretty, but nothing missing. It's just like granite everywhere, much wider. So William, I had him as high as second. So now going into the show, it's not like he was off. He was just slightly off, but that was enough to push him.
I know, but how did he fall so far back is the question. Like, what?
I don't know.
Like, you know what I mean?
I didn't think he was that off.
Yeah, but Big Ramy fell way off. When you compete with the best in the world, somebody has to be first and somebody has to be last. So, if you're just slightly off, it doesn't mean it's, I'm just going to slip one place. You might slip all over the place. I mean, after Dennis Wolf in 2007, right, was very good. In 2008, he was also top 5. But in 2009, he was not in top 15. Remember? They penalized him, okay? You were off, you're penalized.
What happened?
I don't know. I mean, I was out of it. I prepared him for 2007. That's what I know. And then as I was suspended from IBB, he couldn't even work with me even if he wanted. And he wanted, but we couldn't do it. So I had to stop. But William Bonyak is a big-time favorite to win. I have my doubts that he's not going to even compete also. I said,
what do you mean?
That probably he was not even planning to do it. I don't know.
And do you think he saw the list and it opened up?
No. I think that he maybe signed up for it. Okay. I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know any of the facts. I just thought that he put everything in the last year Arnold Classic in Boston and Olympia.
Okay,
right?
but when was the list? When do you sign up for the Arnold? I don't even know.
Way before.
Normally it's by like December whatever, and they launch it on a
It
certain
was
day.
before the Olympia.
Oh, it was.
But it
Okay.
was, but if I remember
Okay.
right, they allowed guys like 3 days after the Olympia because the Olympia was in December.
I don't
Normally,
know.
if I remember right, normally on December 15th, they always put the list out of who applied. But guys were saying, well, I want to see what happens until after the Olympia, and the Olympia was the 17th.
Yeah. So
Some people signed up beforehand, though, regardless.
yeah, I just have that feeling. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that William competes. I really do. I love William. I love everything he stands for. Every bodybuilder is bodybuilder. The thickly muscle. How can you not love it? But I just had a feeling that it probably was not in his cards. Maybe right now he's not saying. He's quiet, right? If you slip down, you're gonna probably make some adjustments and go all in.
But if he looked like he did at Boston, he's right there.
He's right there
fighting for.
last year for me he won. He beat Brandon, but they didn't give it.
He's got 2 and he's got second one, so
Yeah.
he
So-
always does well there.
Clarida and Kamal. Kamal, many people believe beat Hakeem Williams in Tampa. I said right away, it's just conditioning alone, cannot overwhelm this kind of mass. Yes, from the, back.
And you're a
Hakeem
conditioning
was, yeah. So everybody says conditioning is king. Conditioning is king. But conditioning is not the whole picture, right? So I said, you got the calls that Kamal should have won that contest. And I told you here, not in my book, not in
You
your
were
book,
there,
as
right? You
a
were at
body.
the
I
show?
wasn't there. I wasn't there. But it's just overwhelming. You can't do that. Okay, so on the same merits, can Kamal really be front runner? I love his physique. I love his personality. I love everything. He's 52 years old. I don't even know. It's all the respect, but I don't see him being a contender to win. Is he going to be possibly more stripped? Him and Clarida, you already know they're going to be razor sharp. Condition is going to be off the chart. So you already count on this. When we discuss this, you can already expect that they're going to be best conditioned guys. If Nick Walker comes, Nick can be in similar condition maybe, right? But then you have to consider everything else. Size, shape, V-taper, weaknesses. And this is where I really see that Samson should dominate. And Samson is a guy that is aiming for the Olympia title,
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you have to say?
No, I think we have to have a follow up because I think that things will happen in the meantime. More than 6 people. The obviously Arnold Classic.
How does that make you feel though, as a guy who won that show?
Dude, I understand.
6
I
guys.
understand both. I understand both sides, to be honest, because I understand why some guys that aren't doing it. We didn't even talk about Andrew Jack, but we understand like he had a lengthy season.
Yeah, the lengthy season.
Do people actually come out of the woodwork that might want to be invited that could be invited? The thing's already kind of set, right? That's the thing with limiting with an invite-only contest. We didn't even talk about the other divisions, but, we focus on this men's open. Why didn't maybe more people applied? I don't know.
From what I understand, 8 people applied. That's it.
I'm sure there was more.
No. There was 8 people applied.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
Everyone
yeah.
that applied got accepted, and there was 8 people, and then 2 people dropped out, so now there's 6.
Yeah, well, let's just see how it plays out. All in all, the talent that they do have in that lineup and that 6 is good.
They're good.
Yeah.
We couldn't, if we had said, okay, who's going to be 1 through 6, we couldn't do it, right?
Yeah, but as much as we were saying we don't want to see 30 guys on the stage, we also don't want to see 6 people.
No, we want to
stage.
see 12.
Yeah.
We want to see
12,
10 or 12.
I just, because think about it.
It's the Arnold. It's always 12.
Yeah.
Well, 12 was
12.
the max, right?
The Olympia had, 34 guys in it. Mm-hmm. And only 6 on stage. 34.
So what do we have? So Bonnick and Sampson are international, but who else do we have for international guys on that stage? Anyone else or?
No.
Just all Americans, huh?
Clarida's here, Akeem's here, Rodriguez is here, and Kamal.
Yeah.
Kamal moved here recently, right?
I mean, I would have liked to see Rafael Brandeo in there.
Yeah,
you know?
he could have. I mean, look at top 15 guys. I mean, anybody should have.
Hunter. See,
Yeah,
I thought,
Hunter,
I honestly, I said his name last time.
Michael Kriza should have competed.
I actually thought Ian would have been great in this. He got second the last
Yeah,
time.
True,
he did it.
yeah.
Like he could have been battling for the win. And I listened to the podcast where he talked about he was just some miscalculations. It's like, damn, man, dude, you could win this Arnold. He could if he nailed it.
The crazy part is a lot of guys could prepare in 6 weeks now. You know what I mean? That competed.
Everybody that was at the Olympia stage.
I don't think anyone's way out of shape yet.
Yeah, anybody from Olympia stage, even with a couple of weeks doing nothing and relaxing, should jump right back in and prepare for it.
Well, we look forward to it. It's the first week of March. I'm sure we'll do some conversation about it. We want to wish you the best, man. We know you got what?
Let me be a businessman now. I thought about it. And Regan reminded me yesterday. I have a training camp. So I'm going to put the plug on a January 27, 28, and 29.
Where?
Here in Las Vegas in ATI Gym. You can sign up on the Instagram.
Where's the sign up?
It's on my Instagram.
Can you add it?
Give it to me and I'll put the link in the bottom.
No, the reason why I'm saying it, because even I was training Regan yesterday. In the middle of a training, he gave me a plug. Like, I don't think of these things. But as I was saying, everything that was putting Regan through yesterday, this is my type of training. You already know. So I do want to.
Can I get an appearance fee and show up?
Yeah, you can show up by all means. I'm going to test you for sure. But I am doing my type of training, hyperemia advantage, increase blood flow to the muscle, and I do both heavy duty and myofibril hypertrophy and sarcoplasmic.
So
which is giant sets, and this is the gym that I trained for over a year. So I'm familiar with all the equipment and all the exercises. So I'm going to put them through exact workout I was putting Regan for a Reno show. That's the gym. And when you're familiar with all the equipment and exactly how you're going to structure it. So somebody wants to challenge, I have a limited space because I can't have too many people, and they have to sign up by January 20th.
How many days is the event?
3-day event. It's 2 workouts a day and lecture in between. So
Nice.
You're going to have to do the whole body, 2 workouts a day,
So
like
we'll have
we
to
used to
pop
do.
over and visit.
Yeah, we'll pop
Yeah.
over. And we'll put the link in the bottom so people can
All right,
click it
so
and sign up.
here's my business deal. I just thought about it.
Jay will show up for 100K.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I just got offered $1 million to compete in the contest.
Okay,
for
so
7 weeks.
if somebody offers 5,
I don't want to commit to anything. I don't want to. I'm doing this for 50. Okay, I know you think that this is a competition, but we're going to transform over the next 3 months drastically. But I really start actually getting conditioned down from like May or June to August, because August is the peak date. I'm not going to be like absolutely like, I'm not going to be like drained water and everything, but I want to be in the best physical shape I've been in since the last 10 years.
So when you do it, what would keep you away from the stage? I'm seriously.
What would keep me away is the embarrassment of what I used to look like versus mass. You know what I mean? Because listen, there's some body parts, the legs aren't going to be, the back's not going to be what it was. That's not the goal. The goal is to get top condition and still have muscle tone and prove that, like, it's just a number, man,
But you are mesomorphic type, and you can.
I know.
You can fill up
let's
that
just,
time.
I'll say
let's just take it as it comes.
He's not going to be able to push the weights that he did to get that density. He's not.
Yeah, I already started training consistently. I strained my bicep once, and I did something else.
Strained, really?
Yeah, I strained my bicep like
you
last
called me
week.
afterwards,
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but we know you're a busy guy, so we appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to our next conversation, and hopefully we have great news on the next podcast. So thank you so much.
We will.